しもし。
Welcome in for another episode of Phone It In right here on Sobros Network. Mine's right, ass is tight as we tackle episode 68 for you today. We're going to be talking about that old money pit out on Oak Island. How about it, folks? I'm your host for Phone It In, the EIC at SobrosNetwork.com. Big Natural Stoney Keeley. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Stoney Keeley. Actually, no, I'm at Stoney Keeley 615 on Instagram because somebody already had the Stoney Keeley handle on Instagram. What the fuck, guys? Anyway, joined for episode 68 by the cryptid queen herself, Rooster. Rooster, how you doing today?
I'm doing so good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's pretty easy day. I had to mow the lawn, which, you know, September 23rd, you're at that point where it's like, come on, man, just can all this grass just fucking die so I don't have to do this anymore? And down here, it's still in the 90s. I don't know what the actual real feel was like, but it's like super sweaty, super hot, the sun bearing down on me, and I'm still mowing the lawn. Thankfully, half the backyard is dead already. And I just hope I don't have to do it anymore this season. I hope this was the last time I had to do it. But other than that, I'm doing pretty well.
It's in the 60s here today, which last week it was hot. It was like upper 80s. It was disgusting. This week, the official first day of fall yesterday, it was rainy. It was cool. The rest of the week's going to be cool. I think it's going to continue to be cool. I love being in the north.
I'm so jealous.
I love being in the north.
Yeah, you guys are probably going to get snow here in a couple of weeks for fuck's sake.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't mind it.
You guys get like the real fall, right? We're old men. We're every episode we go, how's the weather up there in Michigan? It's real hot down here in Tennessee.
Yeah, the leaves are so pretty. It's great.
Yeah. Well, if you want to join the conversation, watching us along with us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, like Zach is, who chimes in that the video intro was eyeball emoji. So I'll take it. But jump in the comments. Let us know what you think about the episode, what your thoughts are on the Oak Island Money Pit. Rooster, what was it about this topic that made you choose it for today's show?
I don't know. I think it was, I wanted to do something that was a bit more, like I try to do different topics that kind of switch off so we're not stuck. And I didn't realize that this was actually a History Channel show. So I got mad about that because Ancient Aliens we just did, which is also garbage on History Channel.
If you want to hear us completely eviscerate Ancient Aliens for over an hour, just go check out the last episode from a couple of weeks ago.
But I thought this would be kind of, I don't know, it feels kind of fallish to me for some reason. I don't know why. And it's not too spooky, but I'm going to start getting into spooky stuff next time.
Yeah, I feel like, next time, it'll be October. I didn't even realize that, but it is time for the spooky stuff. The range of topics that we cover here, it does kind of feel like we've had some heavier episodes, and the last episode that we did, just completely trashing Ancient Aliens, it does feel like a departure from that and kind of a grounding, almost like as if we're talking about a little bit of actual history here on then. And I dig that myself. So why don't we
a little bit of mystery?
A little bit of mystery. You know what? Mystery is in the air. 'Tis the season. This is kind of reading through the agenda felt like this is probably going to be a good primer for spooky season. Like we're not going like full on scary stories, but there's an adventure to be had here. There are some interesting theories that we will discuss coming out of this. And I feel like it has the similar structure of a spooky season conversation.
Yeah, and it's outside, oak
Yeah,
trees. I don't
oak
know.
trees.
North and Northern Island, whatever.
Yeah, I we need to write the
Um,
movie, write the short story based off of it.
well, okay, so what's the first time you ever heard about this? Ask as you take a sip.
When I read the agenda for the show,
Okay. So you didn't listen to Astonishing Legends cover this?
I didn't get to. No, no, it's
Okay.
football season. So, and then like
Oh
this
no, well
weekend.
this is like old. They did this early on.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm saying I didn't hear about it
Okay,
until
okay, okay.
I didn't know this occurrence even existed, ever
Gotcha.
happened until you said this is what the next show is going to be, and I just said sounds good. So, so then
Okay.
I meant to when you said that I'm like, oh, because you did tell me there's an Astonishing Legends episode on it, and I'm like, oh, I want to go listen to that, but then it's football season. I have to watch every Titans game like 5 times so that I feel like I know what I'm talking about. And the Nashville Film Festival was this past weekend. It took up my entire Saturday.
Yeah,
So I haven't had a lot of time the last few days.
that's
Did a
fine.
beer tasting at Danger Zone Video on Friday night with
Oh,
Brittany Fernandez. That's dropping on YouTube tomorrow night. But my fucking mic wasn't plugged in for the whole time, so it's just computer audio. Just batting 1,000, but staying completely fucking covered up and busy.
um, I mean, I remember. So I read a book. I went through a phase maybe like 10 years ago now. At this point,
An
of
Oak
reading a
Island phase.
well, no, of reading a bunch of Douglas
Oh,
Preston and
gotcha.
Lincoln Child books. Like they wrote Relic. I think that's their biggest one,
Oh,
which
yeah,
Relic
okay.
is so good. And if you haven't read it, you definitely should read it. Although it goes on to doing more Pendergast stuff, but Pendergast gets crazy. I don't know. They've got some really good standalone books are the ones that I
Yeah.
prefer, and Relic. But they have one called Riptide, and it is based on this. I didn't like it that much, but that was like the first time I really heard about this. And then yeah, I went back to try and re-listen to the Astonishing Legends stuff. But they did 4 episodes. The first 3 were an hour long, and then the 4th one is like when they started apologizing for going over an hour back before they started doing that regularly. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
cute because they're sitting there like, oh, I mean, we're sorry, folks. It's gonna be
I
longer than
mean,
usual. And it's like you guys do like what 4-hour
I was
episodes
about to say,
now?
I have
Yeah.
listened to that's one of my wife and I's favorite listen whenever we make our road trips up to New Jersey, and it's a 14-hour drive, and there have been times where we've only been able to listen to, like, 4 episodes.
Yeah, they put out real bad. They follow me too, which is neat.
Oh, shout out to Astonishing Legends.
Yeah.
Great,
Friend of the
great podcast.
brand.
Friend of the brand, apparently, yeah. Who knew?
No, no, but yeah, they're cool. So I went back and listened to most of it. I didn't finish the last one, but
What do you have against the History Channel? Why do you hate them?
they stopped doing those cheesy reenactments and they started doing absolute garbage bullshit. I don't know. I haven't watched any of this show, so I have no idea. I can assume that it's fucking garbage bullshit though.
Okay,
Um, I
alright.
think there's like some legend about 7 men must die before the treasure will be found or something. And I'm pretty sure they made that up because 6 people
No,
have died. So
no.
like so it's
That
just
sucks.
it's everything they do now is just hokey garbage and I don't know. I hate it so much.
I saw that part in the notes about 7 men must die before the treasure can be found, and I was gonna propose to you, we just wait for the 7th man to die, and then we start looking for the treasure.
I actually deleted that. I'm like, I don't put that in here. No, fuck, I did leave it in. It's right there.
Yep.
I was gonna remove that because I know it's just their bullshit.
You put a curse in a story, and
Yeah,
it
I
kind of
know.
feels it adds to the atmosphere
Well, I
a
think
little
they
bit.
did like this whole tourism thing now. And like, of course, they're gonna make money off of this. They have their show, The Curse of the Oak Island, whatever. There's this legend of this curse attached to it now.
Yeah. Yeah. Alright, well, hey, let's get to it then. Let's talk about
Okay.
the Oak Island Money Pit. Give us the synopsis.
So, the Oak Island Mystery is a series of stories and legends concerning buried treasure and unexplained objects found on or near Oak Island in Nova Scotia. Since the 18th century, attempts have been made to find treasure and artifacts. Hypotheses about artifacts present on the island range from pirate treasure to Shakespearean manuscripts to the Holy
Whoa.
Grail or the Ark of the Covenant, with the Grail and the Ark having been buried there by the Knights Templar. Yeah, of course.
Got a hot take about that, Rooster. I ain't lifting a finger to find some Shakespearean manuscripts.
No. Well, it goes into this whole like Francis Bacon thing about how Francis Bacon is actually Shakespeare. Like there was no Shakespeare, that
Yeah,
whole theory.
yeah.
So I think it's supposed to be proof. And it's like, why the fuck are they burying manuscripts on an island out in North America? Like,
Who cares? Who cares? What I like?
exactly. Who gives
No,
a shit that much?
no. It's Shakespeare. This is a hot take, I know, but I don't feel like Shakespeare was that great.
Oh my God, I fucking hate Shakespeare.
I have a couple of his plays in my library because you feel like, don't particularly care for them, but they are significant works in history. And I like to have stuff like that in my collection. But I thumb through that stuff sometimes and read it. And I'm just like, who made such a big deal of this guy? You know what it was, Roosters? Because he's the only fucking person doing it back then. He's the only
Yeah.
person writing plays. And they're like, wow, this
Well,
is
I
amazing.
think maybe it could be better if spoken in the actual accent that people used to have, because then the rhyming might make more sense and the jokes would probably be more
Well,
clever
yeah.
because and then a bunch of our language, like a lot of our vocabulary comes from Shakespeare, like really random shit. But the only time I've ever liked Shakespeare is that Upstart Crow show that the BBC did that has Tim Downey in it. That's like the
Don't,
only reason.
don't even know what that is, but I know
It's like a little comedy show. It's cute and it's funny.
I didn't like that Anyone But You movie, that Sydney Sweeney, Glenn Powell movie that came
I
out
didn't even
like
watch that.
last December, and I voiced my displeasure with that film, and
Oh, I
I
like 10
put it
Things I Hate About You, though. That's good.
I hold on, I should reserve judgment here because I liked 10 Things I Hate About You when I was like 14 years old. What I'm finding by going back through the podcast that we do here on Sobros Network is that there's an awful lot of stuff that I liked as a teenager
It's still good.
that I hate as an adult. So I
No,
will
it's
say
still
I
good.
liked it when I was younger, but I haven't watched it in a while. But
I think you'd still like it.
when I said this Anyone But You is garbage, people came at me. Multiple people came at me and were like, "It's based off Shakespeare, dude." And I'm like, that makes me like it even less. Fuck Shakespeare.
So Upstart Crow is funny because they'll do episodes based around the like a certain play, and it is like actually funny. And just it has Tim Downey, so I mean, just
This is who is putting Shakespearean manuscripts in the same category as the Holy
oh, I
Grail, the
know.
Ark of the Covenant,
Yeah.
or pirate treasure? Pirate treasure is sick. You know what? I would quit my job and go out looking for pirate treasure, but I wouldn't give.
I don't think I would.
I would use the Shakespearean manuscripts for firewood.
You know, it's weird when you put like that. I think I would rather go find the manuscripts, but that's just because pieces of paper sound more interesting than old golds. I don't know.
Yeah, but what if they have like special powers?
Okay.
What if they allow you to communicate with aliens?
I don't want that.
You don't want that?
I don't want that.
You know what? I probably don't want that either. I like theorizing about aliens and other dimensions.
But you don't want to fuck them. You don't want to eat them. You don't want to
No,
communicate.
no. I'll draw the line there. Don't even want to talk about them.
Okay. The site consists of digs by numerous individuals and groups of people. The original shaft, the location of which is unknown today, which I don't even know that I verified that.
Okay, good. All right.
That doesn't sound right.
Good job. All right.
Phoning in.
That's right.
Okay.
No, are you okay? Do we need a moment?
The original shaft is known as the Money Pit. There we go.
All right. There's a joke in there.
The money shot.
Money shot.
Money
Original
pit.
shaft.
Shaft.
Yeah, I don't know. My brain's not working quickly enough. We're live on the air right now. I can't piece that together, but it's there, and surely somebody can piece it together for us.
Okay, so a curse on the treasure is said to have originated more than a century ago. I'm pretty sure it's just a History Channel. And states that
Okay.
7 men will die in the search for the treasure before it is found.
So that's all you got to do. You got to wait for the seventh man to die, and then you start looking for the treasure. Why would anybody be looking for the treasure right now, knowing the seventh man hasn't died yet?
Or you want tourists to show up and help look.
Or you work with the seventh man and you convince him to
To
go,
go, hey man, do you want to maybe
hey man,
jump down there?
it's like, oh shit, I just checked my phone and it looks like the seventh man just jumped down in the money pit and he's dead now. So you're all clear. You've worked so hard for this. You should jump down in the money pit. But the whole time
Oh,
it's
like lie to him? Oh my
yeah,
God.
trickery,
Wow, that's
trickery.
fucked up, Stoney.
So then you get to be right there in proximity as the
Hmm.
seventh man dies, and you just jump in the money pit
Oh,
and
I
you
get
go.
it. That's dirty, but I get it.
You got to do what you got to do. All right.
They put more money into this than the treasure would even be worth. So,
Yeah, fair enough.
okay. Origins of the mystery. The discovery of the island's money pit, the focal point of the treasure hunt, as you can imagine, occurred in 1795 when teenager, although maybe he wasn't a teenager, maybe he was like in his 40s. Huge difference there. I'm not sure where the discrepancy comes from.
Well, it was a few hundred years ago, so
Fair. When unknown aged Daniel McGinnis went exploring. There are a couple of different theories on why he wanted to explore or hunt, but it's also said I didn't finish the last episode of Astonishing Legends, so I don't know if this comes back up because it's like, why doesn't this come back up?
yeah,
It's also said that he and others kept seeing 3 little green lights over the island.
man.
Even local lore going back to 1720 around these lights, like 2 guys going out to check on it and never coming back. So people are scared and don't go to the island.
So when you say like three little green lights,
In the
this
sky,
is
like
pretty
floating.
far. Yeah, but this is pretty far north. I mean, could it not be one of the, I don't know, it's not like the northern stars, like the, what is it, the shit that goes crazy in the sky at night and looks all colorful and all
Northern
that?
Lights.
The northern lights, yeah.
Well, and I think there's also like there's swampy areas, which I don't know. They always say like gases and stuff can make lights. I think because there's
Yeah,
folklore
sure.
in like Scotland of seeing little lights and like fairy lights and whatever, but it's kind of peaty and damp and whatever, and maybe there's natural gases that come up and make these lights. So it could be
Well,
something like that.
it's like Christmas Vacation with the gas coming out of the sewer. It
I've
causes
never
the
seen
green
that
lights.
movie.
You've never seen Christmas Vacation? Oh my goodness gracious.
Look, don't be hypocritical here. How many movies have people said that to you about?
A
What?
lot.
Yeah.
And I have to take it every time they say it to me.
I mean, I'll take it. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal, you know? I'm astonished by that, but that does not mean that I think less of you. You know what I'm
I don't
saying?
really like a lot of Christmas movies, and I know it's like a comedy, but it just seemed kind of like cheesy. I don't know. I never watched it.
I love Christmas movies. I don't know how we got here.
um, should
So,
be said, this is all from Daniel's memory years after the fact, which 40 years old, a teenager, who fucking knows?
is he even real? I know Dan McGinnis had a great bar on Demumbrian for a long
Oh,
time, Irish pub that is now a
maybe it's
tailgate.
the same guy.
Could be time traveler.
They then found this large. Okay, so he went to the island. He found this like large man-made clearing. There's one red oak tree with a sawed-off branch and old pulley hanging from the branch, and then a depression in the ground.
So
So it looks like maybe what would be known. And also it's like it's super well known for being like a pirate area.
yeah,
And it looks like something would have been buried there. So he was like, hell, maybe this is a pirate treasure hiding place. So he leaves and he comes back with two of fellow teenage friends or suspicious
We
relationship. We don't know. We don't know, but the other
yeah.
two are teenagers, definitely. Um, and then they come back and they start digging. The teens uncovered a shaft, and as the teens and grown man, and as they continue to dig, come across oak logs, flagstones, and wooden platforms placed at like 10-foot intervals. So like they
Whoa.
go down 10 feet. There's like these planks, like
Yeah. Like a scaffold almost?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then they keep going 10 more feet. There's another one, 10 more feet. There's another one. Like it's very regular. At 30 feet, they finally stop because they're just digging all day.
So they stopped because they got tired, they couldn't go
Yes.
on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, I mean, well, maybe we'll get to it in the show. I don't wanna ask that now.
So
Like,
at 30 feet, they finally stop. So either at the third platform or maybe right before it. But later, as adults, one of them purchases the land.
that's
So
dedication to the bit right there.
yeah, like they just became obsessed with the idea that there was treasure here.
Why didn't they didn't have to buy the land, they coulda just kept digging.
Yeah, I know.
They're
They
already
clearly
30
didn't have
feet
a
deep.
problem with it.
Yeah, they're
They
30
clearly
feet deep.
like where did the moral I mean, they must have grown up and been like, "Damn, we can't just dig here." You had a 40-year-old man with you who didn't say this. Like,
Yeah, well, different times, you know? Different times.
I don't know how to feel about Daniel. I just keep harping on the fact that he's this fucking old man who comes back for teenagers, goes to this
Well,
like empty island.
what if he's one of the aliens guiding people to it?
Why has he got to be 40 years old and hanging out with teens?
Well, maybe the aliens' knowledge of humans wasn't all that great at the time. Maybe to the
Okay,
alien,
fair,
it's like,
fair, fair.
"Oh, this is what," like they have the weird thing with shoes, like they just don't understand shoes.
Or maybe like I'm an elder. I clearly must be wise
Exactly.
to people, and not
Exactly.
perverted. But so one of the teens owns the land now.
So you have the rest of this broken down by
Yeah.
the different digs that have happened there?
So these are like the first 100-ish years. The
Okay.
first after that, I mean there's been way more digs, but it just gets boring after that, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Um I mean, if
No
anybody
one's been
wants the
cursed?
full story, you can listen to Astonishing Legends. They always do incredibly deep dives, but that means it does get a little boring sometimes. But shout out Astonishing Legends, still love you.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Um, that's not what we're about. So I
We
kept it
try
to the first
try to keep it
inch.
at an hour.
um, but yeah, it just kind of gets messy after that. And then nothing actually super interesting, in my opinion, happens after like the initial discoveries. So
So let's talk about the initial discoveries then.
in 1802, about 30 men, including the original three, formed the Onslow Company.
Oh man, this is like great fiction fodder right here.
Mhm.
The
You should.
Onslow Company buys land in Nova Scotia to
I feel
investigate.
like. Have you ever read? What are their fucking names? Preston and Child books? Because I feel like you would. I feel like you would enjoy them.
I feel like you might have recommended them to me before,
They
but
have a really good one about like out in the desert, like coming up with some disease that'll kill people. It's so good.
okay. Yeah, I'm in.
I don't remember what it's called. I'll have to send it to you because I think I do own that one. And also Relic. I mean, Relic is so fucking good. But yeah. Anyway.
So they
Uh,
started the Onslow Company to start a proper dig.
yeah. So again, about every 10 feet, they're coming across oak platforms. At 30 feet, at the 30-foot platform, they find a putty,
Okay.
like caulk that would be on a ship to seal water. So it's
Sure.
like waterproofed.
Oh, okay.
So the platform is like waterproofed.
Yeah.
50 feet, there are beach stones with strange markings on them.
Are these like carvings,
Yeah.
drawings kind of
Mm-hmm.
deal? Okay.
Like little runes. Sure.
Okay, cool.
They get down to 60 feet and find coconut fibers, which
Whoa.
so coconut fibers obviously are not going to be native to that area.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like somebody's bringing this here. This is obviously man-made, but coconut fibers are pretty cool because apparently they don't break down in the ocean.
Yeah.
So
Pirates.
yeah,
Pirates.
pirates. Obviously, this definitely sounds like pirates so far.
Yeah.
Who's traveling from like the Caribbean up to Nova Scotia? Fucking pirates.
Where
Um,
they wouldn't be detected.
mhm. So at 90 feet, a huge stone slab with cryptic markings slash code on the underside of it. Um, the stone, okay. I put down notes and then I listened to it and I was like, I will remember this, but now I'm a little drunk, so we'll see. um, the stone has disappeared by now, but they did write down the code, but they didn't. They didn't do like, they didn't take an, what is it called when you like rub the piece of paper on it to like actually copy it?
Fingerprints. They didn't fingerprint the
They didn't
stone.
take like an etching or whatever it's called.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what it's called.
They just like somebody wrote it down, like tried
Yeah.
to copy it as best they could. I mean, we're early 1802. I mean, come on. People are idiots. I'm just kidding.
They don't have brains in 1802.
After I just talked about ancient aliens, we're like, how dare anybody say people are stupid?
how does the stone just disappear though?
So I think one of the guys used it in like his hearth, whatever, like in his
Oh yeah,
fireplace.
okay.
And
Yeah.
like people kept showing up to look at it, and I don't know what happened, but at this point, like nobody knows where it is. So
I mean, that would be a pretty cool piece to have in your home.
maybe he got rid of it because he's tired of people coming to look at it.
Yeah, could have been.
I
Could have
don't
been.
know. I zoned out listening. Um,
They dig a bit further.
and they call it a night.
Yeah.
So that's like, you know, they're like, all right, we're done for the day, guys. We got down to where are we? 90? 60 feet.
90 feet.
90 feet.
Yeah.
So the next morning, there is 60 feet of water has filled the shaft. Like it was dry before. Well, they noticed it started being like a little damp down there, but like they come back in the morning just full of water.
That's a bummer.
Full of water.
You gotta get to work. Get your bucket.
So they have unknowingly popped the cork, which is how the shaft was designed.
So,
like before we go further, honestly, this is really cool to be like it was maybe designed to like if you dig down deep enough, then it fills up with water. Like that's kind of how Riptide is. It makes it seem like it's very booby trapped.
Yeah.
Like, oh, our treasure's down here, but good luck getting to it.
It's like an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, which Riptide kind of feels like that, but more, modern.
Man, I would be so pissed though if I came back to that site the next morning and there's 60 feet of water in there. I mean, what do you do at that point?
Well, nobody's really been too successful about it.
Yeah. This is just making me want to try it, Rooster.
Yeah.
What do you have going on this weekend? Do you want to go to Nova Scotia?
I don't think I'm doing anything this weekend. Yeah, we could go. That sounds beautiful. Let's go. It's perfect time for it. I'm sure the fall colors are lovely.
Yeah. What if we did it? We were the ones.
I will be the seventh man to die.
I'm gonna be like,
I'll just end it now.
Oh,
yeah,
Rooster,
lie to me.
I just found out the seventh man died.
And then they just fucking jump. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
I am gullible enough for it. We have established that.
We have. So this just sits for a couple of years, the 60 feet of water.
Yeah, they give up. They're like, well, shit, we've spent all of our money. We don't know what to do about this.
Water. A little bit of water. Come on.
They come back a couple years later. Because you have to like, this is a lot of people doing this. Like
Yeah.
where they getting the money? I don't know. I didn't listen that closely. Um, so they try pumping it. The pump like bursts immediately, like a steam pump.
I'm curious that over 2 years' time, the water just didn't, like, run into the ground?
Well, it's the ocean.
Uh, yeah.
I'll get to it. I'll get to it.
Alright.
So
So
the
the pump
company
burst.
comes back the next year to dig a second shaft, um, 14 feet away, but like next to it. They dig down about 100 feet and it's still dry. So then they dig a horizontal tunnel to connect to the original shaft, which makes no sense.
Why
It makes no sense.
did they think, like,
Here's
we just
shaft
gotta
number one. And they're like, maybe if we dig over here, the water won't flow over.
but I'll say, probably an effective strategy to get the water level down in the original shaft. But
So I think the original idea was that it was like a spring and maybe they could dig below the spring,
yeah.
which also I can't wrap my head around. Um,
Well, yeah, I mean, theoretically, I think you probably could. I'm basing this off of the one spring I've been in my life that's
and
like 3 feet deep, surface
where's the
level.
science in it? They're just like taking a guess. They
This
dug
was
down
science.
100 feet.
This was
Eh,
the birth of science. This is what science was born out of. People going out to an island and being like, "Nah, let's just dig under the shaft."
We'll dig under the water.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. We just gotta get under the water and we're good.
Doesn't make any fucking sense. Um, as you can imagine, the second shaft fills with water.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
the Onso company runs out of money and nothing else happens for about 40 years.
That sucks, man. We should have pursued this. We should have stuck with it. There should have been constant exploration of this thing. Maybe
We as
we
humanity is the Onso company.
I'm gonna write my congressman to see if we can generate funding for this mission.
Oh god. Um, okay, 1849, the Truro company built another neighboring shaft to try and tunnel over again. I don't know why.
What?
I don't know why. Um,
Boys, we gotta take something from the first 2 attempts at this. We gotta learn something, guys.
finally they realized the water is rising and falling with the tide, which I don't know why it would take people so long to realize that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. People didn't have brains back then.
Yeah, that's we got all of our information from aliens because we are fucking stupid. Um, which is hilarious that both of these are on the History Channel.
It is. It is.
Where are the aliens now to give us clues?
Well, they taught us all we need to know.
Clearly
Like,
not.
you guys got it from here. Well,
And we just keep digging neighboring tunnels to
no,
fill with water.
I bet the water's not under the ground here. Let's dig.
Maybe if we go even deeper.
Yeah. We just got to dig beneath the ocean.
um okay, so they realize that it must be connected to the ocean somehow. So they find out Smith's Cove is artificial. It's an
Where's
artificial
Smith's
code.
Cove?
It's on the island. I don't know.
Okay, cool. All right.
Outside of that, I don't know.
Nearby, I take it.
There's a cove on the island that they found is artificial. I
All
don't
right.
know distance, so I won't even guess. So they start excavating around the cove, and they discover an elaborate stone drain system. So it's like 4 or 5 like fingers, they kind of say it. So it's like there's all these tunnels going in and out of like this shaft, filling it
Okay.
up with water. I don't think they know that there's a bunch of them now. I think they just know about this one, but it
They've
is
just
like
yeah.
It's like a direct tunnel to
Gotcha. Okay.
whatever. Um, but yeah, there's like all this stone around it. Like it's clearly man-made. And there's more coconut fibers being used as like a filter. I don't know why you need to filter the water, but
Got to get the salt out. It's the ocean.
so it's a pretty impressive and sophisticated build for pirates. Like what they're just like completely this feels like doing some kind of I can't even think of what the fucking game is called, but this feels like landscaping in a game. We could just even say Minecraft for fuck's sake. I mean, any
Yeah.
game where you're just actually building the land and like pirates are doing this shit. Why would pirates do this?
Yeah. I mean, this kind of feels like it would be a bit of advanced engineering for the time period.
Right. Yeah.
Much less when you consider the typical character of a pirate
That we know from Disney movies.
that we know from Disney movies and Johnny Depp.
Hmm. Yeah, they're just drunk idiots. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. Pirates
um,
weren't smart. What are we talking about here?
so they stop up the main tunnel and try to drain the shaft, but it's still filling. So they realize there must be another tunnel to the ocean. So this is where Truro calls it quits.
It's just, man, money or just motivation. They're like,
Money.
we can't figure
Everybody
this
keeps running out of money.
out. Well,
I mean, it's got to be a bit of both, but I mean, people keep coming up with more stupid ideas. So both, but probably mostly money. Um, in 1861, Anthony Graves now owns most of the island. I have no idea who that is. I just wrote down names occasionally when they popped out.
Anthony Graves, yes.
So the money pit has almost completely collapsed at this point.
How are they going to get down to it if it collapses?
They're just gonna keep trying to dig next to it and
Is
going over. I don't know. This shit is so fucking crazy. It
is there
starts.
still 60 feet of water in the thing at this point?
Yeah, it's still flooded.
Why can't you just dive into it then?
They do. They start diving.
Okay. I'm
Mhm.
glad I'm, glad I'm on the same wavelength as 1860s explorers.
Well, so I think I don't even remember how the people die. I never even looked it up. I think there is a pretty sad story with like a father and his son. Like the father falls down because gases knock him out. There's like
Yeah,
natural gas or something, so he falls down,
that'll
and then
do
the
it.
son like immediately jumps down to go get him, but then the son is knocked out by the gases too, and they both drown. So
I mean, that's pretty sad. We didn't have
yeah,
to take the episode there, but
those are the only deaths I remember. But I think there's like problem like one diver gets the bends really bad and almost dies. I think one diver would have died if he had been like 5 seconds too late because like a tunnel collapsed or something. Like
damn.
it all seems really unstable. Um it seems like nature is not really wanting people to discover it. Like it seems all very difficult.
It's cursed.
Yeah.
It's cursed according to the History Channel.
Okay. I did write down Anthony Graves because he comes up a little bit later.
Okay.
So that's after dig number 2. Anthony Graves owns it. And now this is the last interesting dig. In 1866, a new company called Oak Island El Dorado comes around. Their plan is to build a dam in Smith's Cove to really drain it all.
Just dry it out.
Yeah.
So we can walk the halls, so to speak.
But a storm destroys it, so the company folds the next year.
Man.
It just keeps happening. It just keeps
Yeah.
happening. So 72 years into this project, there are now 11 shafts, 2 dams, and over $2 million sunk into it. And I wrote, so LOL, I think it just gets stupid from here. Like people aren't even sure which is the original money pit
Well, because
anymore.
they keep digging shafts down into the ground.
And record keeping that early maybe wasn't the best with like who even are these people? Just random ass treasure hunters.
Bummer.
There's so much junk and machinery that's left behind that's fallen into the pits. Like it's all just a fucking mess. And yeah,
The junk and machinery is worth more than the Shakespearean manuscripts, by the way.
yeah, fair, fair. I mean, over time, they do find random like Spanish coins. They find like, I think China, bits of China. Every time I say China, I immediately think of Donald Trump saying China. So that just popped into my brain. um, like I literally can't even say China without thinking about it now. But
But your point being, people have taken their shots at this thing.
yeah, then there are still things to be found that keeps pushing people on to think like
Yeah.
there's treasure here because we've seen coins, we've seen bits and pieces of stuff that comes from like the Templars, that comes from like old places, that comes from like Vikings. Like there's a lot of history there at least.
I mean, it's tempting. Just hearing about this now makes me want to go get my companion to jump in the hole so
I
that I can be the 8th person to find it.
um I just go just because it sounds pretty.
It does. Well, I mean, that's another aspect of it. I bet I could write some killer poetry
Yeah.
in this setting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got
Excuse
it?
me.
You
Yep.
good? All
Yeah.
right.
Okay. So skipping forward to now. Um,
We're just gonna leap forward about 200 years here, so
mhm.
give or take.
um, in July 2010, that's not now. Stakeholders and
It's modern in the context of we're talking about the 1850s.
stakeholders in Oak Island Tours announced on their website that the Nova Scotia Department of Natural Resources and Department of Tourism, Culture and Heritage had granted them a treasure trove license, which allowed them to resume activities until December 31st of 2010. After December 2010, the departments repealed the treasure trove license and replaced it with an Oak Island Treasury Act. The act, which became effective on January 1st, 2011, allows treasure hunting to continue on the island under the terms of a license issued by the Minister of Natural Resources. God, this is boring.
I was just thinking that sounds so fucking cool. Like
Okay.
I don't care if I found anything, but how cool would it be if you had a license to go treasure
Hunt
hunt?
treasure? That's pretty, yeah.
You like
I
just pull
mean,
it out and be like, "Look, I'm a treasure hunter."
it's a whole island that's like, hey, you're allowed to hunt for treasure here.
Which feels like a pretty wild thing to say in modern times.
Um, Exploration by the Lagina brothers.
I think it's Legina. I couldn't even
I saw
Legina.
your face. I knew you were waiting for me to say it, but I was not going to say it.
Uh,
I think it's Lagina.
okay, Lagina brothers.
Legit. Okay, the Legina brothers um, has been documented in the reality television show The Curse of Oak Island, airing on History since
So that's
2014.
it,
It's on
and it's still
Hulu, I
going
think.
on?
I think so. I don't know.
Man, 10 years. 10 years, they still ain't found shit?
Probably not. I think some interesting things have happened from listening to Astonishing Legends talk about it, but probably not a lot.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so theories.
Yeah, let's get into what we think this is all about.
So, treasure trove. According to the earliest theory, the pit held a pirate treasure buried by Captain Kidd. Kidd and Henry Avery reportedly took treasure together, and Oak Island was their community bank.
Pretty good arrangement, I would
And it
say.
is like a known area for pirates. So, I mean, there's probably for sure. I mean, they found coins. So, yeah.
That makes
Um,
sense.
it's been suggested that Templars, the Holy Grail slash Ark of the Covenant, Masons, or Incas, I don't, how the, seeking to squirrel their treasure away from European persecutors or Spanish conquistadors may have created the money pit.
Mm.
Or that it was more likely the British engineers and sailors dug the pit to store loot acquired in the British invasion of Cuba during the 7 Years' War, which was from
Yeah.
1756 to 1763. So that timeline would kind of work out. I think they dated some of the oak logs, and I think they maybe found that they were like mid 1600s. So maybe it is older than that.
That that explanation kind of makes sense though, no?
I think it does. And
Yeah,
then someone else said
plausible.
French engineers during the same year. Like, I don't know. So either pirates, engineers, whoever. Like, I don't think it's actually Templars just because you might have like
Well,
old Templar coins and shit because pirates are collecting stuff from all
I
over the
was
place.
just about to say the same thing. Like the pirates are taking a little bit from every port that they stop in. You can't at that point you're getting stuff from all over the world, I would presume.
Yeah, like you have to think about what makes the most sense. Like Templars and Incas and Masons and whoever are all coming to this fucking island. No, it's probably pirates collecting different shit and dropping it off.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. I mean, the idea of just like dumping the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant in a hole in an island somewhere with like virtually no protection that yeah, we talk about the Indiana Jones booby traps, but I mean theoretically somebody could just jump down and find it. Like
Yeah.
seems counterintuitive to what the Knights Templar were supposedly willing to do to protect these relics and keep them safe and secure. Like I don't know. I have a hard time going that far with this.
Yeah. Yeah, same. But I think there's also a theory that it was like a place to kind of repair ships, like sort of a weird, not really even a money
Oh,
pit, but like sort of a docking area
yeah.
to repair
Okay.
ships. And I think on Astonishing Legends, they said like, well, why would they do that? Because there's a place closer by that was more official. But like, if they're pirates, they're not looking
I
for an
was
official area. They're
yeah,
trying to do it sneaky.
they gotta go somewhere where people are looking away.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Like that kind of, I think the ones that maybe aren't like a treasure pit are kind of interesting to me.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Um,
Fair enough.
so attached to the treasure trove, there is a theory that Anthony Graves found the treasure and never told anyone.
That's the guy you wrote down, or
Yeah.
you wrote his
So
name
like
down.
he wouldn't have to pay taxes on finding the money, and the land is worth more when he went to sell it because people still want to find the treasure, which that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like in all those years, it went through a lot of different owners. What if somebody did find it and then
You
just
know,
didn't say anything so that they could still sell their land for a lot of money?
we need to look at Anthony Graves's family and close relations to see if anybody died at any point. If he convinced them to be the seventh
Oh my
person,
god.
and then he was
I
the
think
eighth.
that was too early. I don't think there was that
Was
many
it?
deaths yet.
Okay. Okay. My bad. My bad.
Um, but I think he had coins or something. Like I think there was
Man, that's
I
oh,
love that theory. That one's
I
really
do
fun to
too.
me.
Yeah.
I love the idea that somebody like that would be a fun short story to be
That's just what I was
like
thinking. Like I
like
gotta
at the
work this.
very yeah,
I
like
gotta
at the
work this
very
in.
end, it's sort of like, did he find it? But it's like a little wink, like you bet your ass he fucking found it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I like it. Our buddy Trey's in the comments saying DB Cooper is out there somewhere. What if DB Cooper raids the Oak Island money pit?
that's a fun thought. And he's attached to the aliens somehow.
And he's
The
a pirate.
aliens told him where to go to get the pirate treasure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, so another theory is it's a sinkhole, which is boring. Boo.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No. Suggestions that the pit is a natural phenomenon date to at least 1911. A number of sinkholes. There is a sinkhole. There is an actual sinkhole on the island. They call it like the sinkhole pit. When
Mhm.
one woman who lived there fell through with like her cow or something. They're both fine. But there's a sinkhole. Um,
But what about all the coconut fiber?
Right. So, I mean, its resemblance to a human made pit has been suggested as partly due to the extent of natural accumulated debris in sinkholes, saying like coconut fiber doesn't break down. Maybe it could have drifted all the way up and been sucked down. But I mean, like platforms of rotten logs, I don't know. That doesn't, it's too, every 10 feet, I don't know. It seems too man-made. And like you
That's
have
yeah.
stones with markings on them.
Yeah, and the way that all of these things are organized imply, like, engineering,
Yeah.
not just naturally occurring phenomenon.
I think that's too much of a skeptic stance where people just want to be like kind of
Yeah.
dumb about it. Like I get it, you don't think there's like a treasure here, which whatever, that's fine. But like this is also stupid in a different direction.
Yeah. I no, I would agree with that. Yeah.
And then the last one is industrial works, which is this is my personal favorite.
Okay,
Um
let's hear it.
So the money pit is actually a tar kiln because there was like scorching and stuff that they found, but that could have been like old mining technique where you're pulling in fresh air by like lighting a fire.
Oh, something to do with the gust of the
Like,
flow of
well,
air?
yeah, because the fire needs
Yeah.
oxygen, so it's going to pull it
Right.
down.
Mhm.
Um, so that's something I remember from listening to it. I didn't write that shit down. Um, Okay, so there's like whatever. So Maipa is actually a tar kiln dating to the historical period when Oak Island served as a tar making location as part of the British naval stores industry. Or additionally, another proposal suggests that the site is consistent with an illicit historical salt works of the area. And I like the salt
Oh,
works
okay.
one.
Okay.
So I found a Reddit comment to sort of explain how the fuck this would work. I took a screenshot. It's very professional.
Alright.
So as if I haven't just been reading, just reading a different screen. If I understood King's theory correctly, the idea was to drive small amount of water at high tide through some kind of portal from the cofferdam, close the gate, and let water stay inside the dam and absorb itself to sand layer. This person can't write or shit.
Okay.
Um,
Good to know.
sorry, sorry. Um, and let water stay inside the dam and absorb itself to sand layer. Then they would let sand dry, which makes the beach kind of sand slash salt mixture. Are you following this at all?
No. No. No, I am not. Absolutely
Neither am
not.
I. So I guess they have their little cove. They bring water in.
And it
They
creates sand?
close it off. They close it off and they let the water dry out, leaving behind the salt. So you just have like salty sand.
So then what, you just, like, scoop it up with a bucket
Well,
and
hold
top
on.
your
So
steaks
you
with it?
you bring ocean water in, you let the ocean dry out. Now you have salty sand. And then this process could be repeated multiple times to make concentration of salt in sand as high as possible. The next phase was to open the gate. Oh God, what did I do?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Um, was to open the gate and let water in again so that it would absorb salt from sand and flow through box drains. So, like different drains. So, you have like one big drain and then you have like these four little finger drains.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and this is like a explain like I'm five thing, I guess, because, but it's
It
still,
needs to
I
be.
don't really,
As it should be.
so that, shit, what was it?
Oh, I thought you just
Of,
froze. I was about to
and flow through box drains to a well, which is higher of the shoreline. This water with high concentration of God damn it, I did it again. Of the shoreline, oh God, high concentration of salt was then baled to pots and boiled so that only salt was left.
so
So it
that's,
is actually kind of clever.
yeah, that is pretty clever. You're just using, nature's resources.
You're just trying to make like water as salty as possible,
Yeah.
and then you boil off the water. So the idea of a clay layer beneath the sand layer was to be water resistant so that the only places where salt concentrated water could flow were the finger drains.
Yes. Makes sense.
Eel and this actually makes sense because I said, why did the coconut like why would they need filtration?
Well, there you have it.
So eel grass and coconut fiber were there to prevent sand getting into the drains. To my knowledge, they had to level the surface to make this theory work, to make the beach kind of flat-bottomed pool. So that would make it look man-made cove.
Yeah.
That also explains why those finger drains had to be at pretty darn deep level near the shoreline. Oh yeah, because they are steep. Like it's a steep. I think King's theory. Okay, whatever. I don't care. That makes fucking sense. That
All
makes
this,
perfect sense.
all this done by pirates. Who would have thought?
Well, and then they're not taxed for it.
Yeah.
And people need their salt. You know, that's rich trade, especially for
I was
pirates.
just about to say you could start an enormous trade
Yes.
back in the day with this method.
And you're not getting taxed. Honestly, like reading that through again, it's like that this has to be what it is.
It kind of kills the rest of the mystery. Like, yes, this absolutely makes sense. I don't know how we explain the green dots in the sky, but
Yeah, I know. It
we're
doesn't come
talking
back
about
to
gases emitting in this thing. It could
there's
just
like a
be,
swampy area.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's,
Maybe aliens really like salt works and
yeah.
piracy.
Well, you know what? We talked about aliens learning the ways of humans. They're like, hey, we got to figure out these people have come up with something. They are on one right now with this salt mining technique. We need to study this.
What I love is how fucking smart this is, and then you have a bunch of idiots come in trying to find treasure.
Everybody's like, oh, there's the Ark of the Covenant's here.
Like, I'm
We're
gonna say, I think modern people are dumb as fuck,
yeah,
but
yeah.
older people, they knew what they were doing.
I've got an interesting proposition here in the comments from our buddy Trey. What if the sand was too soft and the earth consumed the treasure?
If you have sinkholes, I could
Yeah, it's what if the treasure
that's
is just
plausible.
gone? It's just
Mhm.
part of the earth now. You got to dig even deeper. Keep getting those shafts down. That's what
I
she.
wonder I wonder how deep they would go.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. We need to write our congressman, and we need to come up with funding for this
Just
expedition.
destroy the whole island.
Just blow it up. Just blow it up. We gotta figure this whole thing out. Well, that's fascinating. What a
Yeah,
fascinating episode this has been. We have reached the end of our agenda, so this
we
is
have.
naturally the part where I ask you if you have any parting thoughts, any overarching themes that you'd like to discuss before we get out of here today.
If the treasure was the people who died along the way.
Oh no. Oh man, that's a great bit to end on right there.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
At Rooster_Chase on Twitter.
There you go. And I'm at Stoney Keeley on Twitter, at Sobros Network on all major social media platforms. Rate, review, subscribe to Phone It In wherever you take in your podcast. We are out in these internet streets, baby. We ain't too hard to find. Episode 68, there's obviously a lot in the back catalog to go through and check out if you want to. We appreciate it every time you guys leave us a rating and a review. That's how we get better, and we always want to be better for you guys. So do you know, Rooster, do you know what we're going to be talking about 2 Mondays from now?
No, I never
Haven't
do.
thought about it. All right. Well, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out in 2 weeks time. We'll be
No.
back here in
No teasers.
in a fortnight for another Phone It In Monday. She is the Cryptid Queen Rooster. I am Big Natural Stoney Keeley. And until next time, you stay classy, phoners.
Bye.